Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man. As always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. I'm doing another, I hear noise. I'm doing another in my series of my thoughts on. So this is my thoughts on my Fender Squire jazz bass. And in my other video, I mentioned if I had just one guitar to run out the house with, if the house was on fire and my family's outside safe. As far as my bass collection, this would be the guitar I run out with. You know, every now and then, and unfortunately, you don't feel this way every single guitar you have. Every now and then, you get a guitar that when you pick it up, even before you start playing, it's like, yeah, man, this feels good. And that's how I feel about this guitar. It just feels good. The size, the weight, and the action. Because I tell, the sellers, I said, I want something low, really low. Because I guess we all have our individual preference, and mine is it got to be low. I just bought a guitar. No, actually, I'm going to buy that one Thursday. It's a bass too. And the guy said the magic phrase. He said, because I asked him about the action, he said, as low as it can go without buzzing. Thank you. That's exactly what I want to hear. Because normal is good, but normal is not my idea of low. Somebody decided we're going to make it this height and it's going to be called normal. And I'm like, that ain't normal to me. Normal is really low. Because I hate the feeling of pressing down on high-ass strings. It's like the equivalent to sticking your hand in dog shit. That's how repulsive it is to me that when them strings are real high and you got to press down on it and spring all the way back up. I hate that feeling. Always hated that feeling. I had this guitar. I went to Guitar Center. This was years ago, 20-some years ago. And that's when I was studying under this jazz guitar player. And he made me the player that I am today. Thank you. And I went to Guitar Center. It was an Ibanez Blazer. And it felt great. The action was just incredible. I'm like, yeah. And then I brought it to my last lesson. And my guitar teacher looked at it. I think I asked him to change my strings and something to that effect. But he changed the strings. And the action was high as hell. I'm mad. I mean, real mad. And he said, yeah, it's supposed to be high so you can build your finger strength. What the? And I determined right then and there, you know what you like. And don't let anybody discourage you from what you like. And it's totally different if you're doing something that you like, that it is detrimental to your learning. But I'm like, no, that's not the case here. I'm going to learn anyway, whether the strings are low or high. So I had to go in and unload them again for myself. And it was never the same after that. So I remember I decided at that very point in time, you know what you like, play what you like, not the advice of someone else, because that's one of those things that is almost individual, as far as how do you like your action, low, high, because I was on the phone with Musical Round today and I was going to buy another guitar, but I called, I said, how's the action? And the guy said, well, it's kind of normal. I said, well, is it possible if I purchase this guitar that you can lower it? And we went back and forth from that because he's like, well, I don't know because, what if we lower it and it ain't to your liking? I'm like, well, it could be not to my liking now, the way it is, And he's like, maybe it's low enough for you. I said, if it's normal, it's not. That's simple. If is what it is right now, take it down for me, please. So he said he'd call me back with pictures of it. I'm like, I already know I need it lowered, I mean, he's like, well, sometimes you got to be here. I'm like, I understand that, but I can't be there. You in a whole nother state. So just take it down for me. So he's going to do it. If not, I'll buy another guitar. But this guitar, I told him, I said, I want my blank low, real low. Dude said, I got you. And when he came, he had me. I mean, this is one of the easiest and great feeling is bass. And it also depends on or the determination is the brand. Because, we know Fender makes some doggone good guitars, So, he had it when he came. It was to my liking. And what I like about this one, it doesn't take a great deal to adjust it, the action, because it's just going to happen, whether you got it in a case or somewhere just sitting around, throughout the time of the year, it's going to affect the neck. I'm thinking maybe one day they come up with maybe a metal neck, but then you might get electrocuted. I don't know. But something that doesn't bend, because when wood does swell and it shrinks. And what makes it swell and shrinks is the humidity, the time of the year, the temperature, and all that. Because I'm sure some of you guys can relate to this. I had a condo in Illinois many years ago. And when it came to, I think it was the summertime, it'd be hard to close that door. I know the wood has swelled. Just like I think it's in the winter it shrinks and in summer it swells. One of them or the other way around. So wood does that. So I'm like, maybe one day they can come up with a material that you won't get electrocuted and the neck won't be doing all this on you throughout the year. Because every blue moon, this one slightly rises. But the cool thing is, the adjustment is real simple. I put in, the heck thing and then just turn it slightly and I can hear it and see it adjusting. And I'm like, just about 2 months ago, it's playing well. And then 2 months after that, I picked it up and I hadn't played in like 2 weeks and it was kind of high. I feel the difference. I'm like, oh, shoot. But I went in, make my adjustment, because it's hard to find a guitar that from the top down here to the bottom, it's the exact same height. Because just about most of them that you have in play, they low, then they slowly start to rise a little bit when they get down here to 12, 14 fret. It's a noticeable difference from up here than down there, But that's just how it is. But, a proper setup is just straight. Flat line, it's like sitting a book on the table. It's not raising up a little bit or in the middle or at the end of the book. It's kind of higher than it is at the other end of the book. But I love this guitar. Love it. And it does slap pop really well because that's what I wanted this one for. Depending on if you're in the studio and they EQing you really well, but most of us, when we want to get to doing that stuff, we got to have a guitar that's already set up for that stuff. Because my Dolphin Blue bass that just recently got, it's not set up for that. It's set up for what it's set up for, and just fingering the notes, not popping and slapping. But I'll stick it up to the camera. So there you have it, my thoughts on the Fender Squire jazz bass. Till next time, take care. Thanks for watching.